Breaking news since we last spoke. The Jake Paul Tank Davis fight has officially been canceled. It is off. It is not happening on November 14th. It is not happening in 9 days' time in Miami on Netflix, and I don't think it's ever happening. So if you weren't a fan of this fight, I think you got your wish. Now, late yesterday night here on the East Coast, around, 9:30, 10 or so, Most Valuable Promotions, the promotion co-founded by Jake Paul and Nikisa Badarian, posted this on social media. They posted that they were officially canceling the fight, saying Most Valuable Promotions immediately initiated an investigation. No, I had the wrong one. Okay, I'm reading this one. Most Valuable Promotions and Netflix have announced that Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, the one I was reading was the one from late last week, originally scheduled for Friday, November 14th at the Cancellation Center in Miami, Florida, will no longer be moving forward. Quote, our team has worked closely with all parties to navigate this situation responsibly, said Nikisa Badarian, CEO of MVP. While we will not be moving forward with this event, our plan remains for Jake Paul to headline an event on Netflix in 2025. And that is what I'm hearing as well. They want him to fight in December. That is the hope. And they're actively looking for a opponent. More on that in a moment. Details regarding a new date, location, Jake's opponent, and additional bouts will be shared as soon as they are finalized. We thank Netflix, Cancellation Center, Seminole Hard Rock and Hotel and Casino for their partnership. Then there's some information about, fans who purchase tickets. You can see all of this online. I did speak to Nikisa briefly, and I've seen some people say like, hey, and this was his take. Like I asked him two questions basically, like, did this have anything to do with the ticket sales? He said this was going to be a very, very successful event for them financially. And the other thing was like, Tank Davis has a checkered past. He had a checkered past when this fight was made. What changed? Well, obviously, two incidents, allegations, lawsuit. Since the fight was announced, they at the time felt like this was an opportunity for people to learn about who Tank Davis is, for him to show the world that he was a changed man, all this stuff and more. And that didn't happen, and they felt like they had to cancel the event. For the record, I feel like this was 100% the right call. You can't be a promotion that is so heavily invested in women's boxing and work with a guy who has allegations and lawsuits pending like Tank Davis does. You just can't. It's a mixed message. And what they're doing with women, I think, is fantastic. I think it's brilliant what they've done, focusing on women's boxing. It calls into question everything that they've done to build that up when you do a fight like this. And so there are other fighters, other opportunities. You have to move on. They said that they had an investigation. They looked into it. They feel comfortable moving on. And I think it was 100% the right call to move on. It is not the right look. It is not the right message. It calls into question everything that they're doing with the women, which I think is one of the best things that they're doing. And so that came out. Jake Paul posted a statement. Gervonta Davis is an actual walking human piece of garbage. Working with him is an absolute nightmare. The unprofessionalism, the bizarre requests, the showing up hours late to shoots, to the numerous arrests and related accusations and lawsuits. If you support this man, you support the most vile sin a man can commit. I didn't want to give this woman abuser a platform to grow his fans and to grow his bank account. My company champions women. I'm so sorry to everyone involved, mostly to the undercard fighters, to my team at MVP, and to my team who worked so hard prepping for this fight, sacrificing time with loved ones and kids just for this fool to lose his unintelligent mind. Again, it's scary that devilish men like this can rise to the top of culture and sports, including in positions of power. I hope you people moving forward look beyond his fake streetwear pieces of quote unquote swag and search for something deeper to be a fan of. As for me, it's on to the next one. As always, anyone, anytime, anyplace, Jake.
All right, there's a lot. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here, and I actually have a guest in the studio with me, MJ, who you've heard and seen before. You can't see her now, but she's gonna chime in. She's actually here. She can hear everything. She just heard all of that, that all of you just heard. But I want to start with this. Since when did Jake Paul become this this guy who had the Gandhi pass, like to give you a new spin on your life, like because they made the announcement. We thought this was a good chance for him to show people he's changed and stuff like that. Like, who granted him these such powers? Like, I just think it's an entitlement syndrome to even think like that. I can't imagine him fighting Terrence Crawford or any of the black fighters and them saying, man, we was gonna give him a chance to show the world he's a better person. Like, that sounds ridiculous to me. They would have said we gave him a chance to show us he got them hands or he can beat us. That's what they was gonna say. They was gonna keep it to the sport, man. Keep it to the sport. Keep it about fighting. All of this smear campaign crap, man, came out with this social media era. Man, back in the day when it came to Mike Tyson and stuff, man, down to him biting Holyfield's ear off. We did not care what problems he had. We wanted a Joker with a checker pass in the ring. That's who we want to see fight. We want to see him go crazy. We want to see who gonna beat that guy. That's what we want. So all of this smear campaign stuff that Jake is trying, man, it's real obvious. And I, I'm gonna be honest, like, if you got the melanin in you, if you're a brother, it's kind of easy to villainize you, in my opinion, especially with allegations and lawsuits. And that's another thing. If it's not a criminal case, don't bring it. Don't bring it, because allegations and lawsuits are what's going on against these guys. Like, that topples everybody apparently. Like, something has to definitely change with that, because um I think real victims of crimes and things like that um should feel some type of way, because that's what it is. A smear campaign is nothing like where it just any piece of anything, and it's just like, oh, this guy's a bad guy, this is why. You know what I actually think? This is my opinion on what I think, and then I'll let you go ahead and say what you want to say, MJ.
Mhm.
But I think that uh Jake really doesn't like Tank, and I'll tell you why he doesn't like him extra, because Tank makes Jake understand that he is the B side. You notice he made mentions of show up late and all of this stuff that A-list celebrities do all the time. Like, no, he just let you know that he's the major draw here, because that's your thing, Jake. You need, like, an aging athlete, or he needs to be grossly outmatched in size or something like this. But he needs to be that guy, and Tank is definitely that guy. So he definitely was the A side, and he did a lot of pompous stuff to you, and I don't think you like that. And then on top of it, I don't think you like Tank being the guy that could do it to you.
Mm.
That's what I really think. I think you were jealous of him in a way that you should not have been jealous of him, because how dare he, to the point where you go on a public smear campaign because the stipulations of the fight wasn't met, and the A side walked away from the table. And then you say it's because we didn't want to play ball with him. That's not what happened. I do not believe that. I believe Tank walked away. You have the floor, MJ.
You
Sorry, I
know,
was so winded.
no, you're good. Honestly, I see what you mean by the smear campaign, because from both sides, Jake especially, and the media group and Netflix, it was so much said about that man's character, um, that might not ever even get him the chance to work again, to be honest. Um, and I can't
No,
speak
no,
to,
I'm sorry. I don't think Netflix issued anything. I
well,
think
that statement was from
The
MVP and Netflix.
no, it was from the fighting promotions that put on the fight. Was that in conjunction with? I don't think that was in conjunction with Netflix.
It looked like it was.
Let's see here. Let's back this up.
You see how
Statement.
both of their logos are at the top?
Oh, you're right. Great catch. I missed that altogether.
Yeah,
Yes,
so they're
yes.
they're united in this front to
To smear this brother.
yeah, yeah.
Man, that says
So honestly, I feel
Netflix.
like this. I can't speak to the validity of like the allegations and or even like what
No, that's what
exactly.
no. Let's stop there. Let's stop there. Let's ho.
Wait, can I
Look.
finish?
Yes, you can.
I can't speak to all of that. I don't really know what's going on. But what I do know from looking at this, like United Front against somebody, they definitely don't think that Jake could have walked out of that fight a winner.
But this whole thing with Netflix, you know what it smells like to me? Jake Jake needs Jake needs Tank a lot more than Tank needs Jake. Let's start there. Okay. And even bigger than that, Netflix needs Tank more than they need Jake. Let's start there. Because you know why Netflix is mad? Netflix ain't mad about no allegations. No. Netflix is mad because Netflix really want that HBO and Showtime swag. Like for them even to be showing fights, remember they caught all that flack because their servers crashed that the first time they tried to do that mega fight.
Yeah.
And they've since been trying to be a player in the space. I'm sure it's like muscling in the space because HBO and Showtime have been the front runners, and they have been doing so with having fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Tank Davis, and all of them guys, Terrence Crawford, be their the showcase. Alvarez. I'm sure Tank sat at the table with a Netflix exec and Jake Paul and dropped his nuts on both of them. Like, I don't need none of y'all. Like I got the big boys who really make fights. Jake, you ain't even a real fighter. But nah, y'all trying to get into the space of boxing and live events and live fights and trying to showcase with that and to have the premier fighter like Tank Davis probably knew what he was worth in that situation and probably dropped his nuts on him in a way that came with a price tag that they didn't
For
want to
sure.
meet, you know, or the and then Jake would have got way less, and Jake was like, nah, F you piece of, I won't have. And Tank like, man, you ain't getting half with me. I'm betting that's more like what was going on rather than some allegations, man. Them folks don't care if that man got purple dinosaurs coming up there to meet with him. Like them folks want that fight, man.
Hmm.
You have anything else to add?
And also, they couldn't have thought that Jake was going to beat the brakes off of him and send him on his way. Because if that would have been the case, what it's looking like they're saying about him and what it's looking like they want to do doesn't match up. If you don't like this man that much, then you would want to see him basically get beat up and end his career.
You guys agree with me? Do you think this is just a smear campaign, nothing more? And do things have to change, man, with this lawyer and all of this stuff, man? Let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're out.